Yo, welcome back to the Rock Fantasy YouTube channel, affectionately known as the Rock Fantasy Files. Got a crew together tonight. We got Denis Barthe from the Mighty Aggression here from British Columbia. We got Tony Dio. I was thrown off because it says Tony Leonard. We only know him as Tony Dio. And he is from North Carolina. We got Rob Linsanti, who I stole from Pete Pardo tonight in the Hudson Valley Squares. Of course, we got Count Ralphus. He's in the center square on my screen, and he is our resident metal historian and collector. And he's going to have a birthday party coming soon, and we'll talk about that later. And then, of course, we got Ed Farshtey down in the bottom from Armageddon Productions. And we got John McEntee from the Mighty Incantation. That really needs no introduction. Everybody knows him on the channel by now. And we're going to talk about concerts. We went to concerts last year, finally, after being locked up for years. And it seems like not being able to do anything but hide in our homes or wherever. And so I figured I'd ask everybody. Last time we were on, we talked about albums that came out last year. And we'll talk about the concerts that we saw or worked or whatever in last year. And I guess I'll start off. So I finally returned going to concerts in September of 2022, probably later than most everybody else on the panel. I was, I'm a caregiver to someone I love. My wife is very ill, and we were kind of afraid to bring the COVID home. I tried my best not to bring it home. Ended up getting it last summer, doing all the precautions I did the whole 2 other years, but it came, and everyone's going to yell at me because I was at a Papa Roach concert. And Ralph says I deserve to get COVID for going.
Yeah. If you're going to get it, that's where you're going to get it at.
But I mean,
damn roaches.
It wasn't like I drove miles to go see this. It was right in town, and I was helping out the fairgrounds with a bunch of shows. So I went to the show, and like I talked to a million people like 2 weeks later. It's like, man, I got sick after that show. I'm like, yeah, we did too, you know. So anyhow, I go back to July. I was promoting some concerts at the local fairgrounds, the Orange County Fair Speedway. It was a variety of like national tribute bands that were playing. We hosted our shop's 36th anniversary concert with Eyes of the Nile and the Iron Maiden tribute, and Last Pharaoh, who's a local original band. We had special guest Chris Caffrey of TSO and Sabotage. Chris performed 3 songs on stage with Eyes of the Nile, 2 Iron Maiden songs, and 1 Sabotage cover of Strange Wings. And Mark Garcia, our good friend from Sanctuary, who's a local guitarist that does Sanctuary, which is an Iron Maiden tribute band, stepped in on lead guitar at the last minute to salvage the show. I literally got a call that like at 11 o'clock that night that the band wasn't playing the next day. So somehow I decided to call Mark, and somehow he answered the phone at like 1:45. And he came and he got on the phone with the guys from the Eyes of the Nile from Virginia, and they worked it out somehow. We pulled it off, but it was a really good show. So in August, and we had that. And then early September, I hosted a concert at Equilibrium after I recovered from COVID, because I ended up getting it at the fairgrounds too. That they had a national act come in after with Papa Roach, which I just got discussed. So we had a little show at the Equilibrium Brewery in Middletown, which is right by my shop. They released a Rock Fantasy beer, which they do every so often. And we had Sun Voyager, who's a national act, Geezer, and Mama Doom, 3 bands, national acts outside at a brewery. It was a lot of fun. And then as I go back into my first indoor gig since February 2020 was at the UBS Arena. I'm calling it the wrong thing. I always do this, which is down in Queens. It's a brand new arena where the Islanders skate, and I went to see Ghost, Mastodon, and Spirit Box. I decided just to go to a show. It was my first trip in this fancy new place, and it was really weird at first because I was so used to being or not around people, but it got me back into it. And the main thing about that show, if you go there, if you're going to drink beer, bring a lot of money, because it's $19 a can of beer.
Oh, damn.
19 for a tall boy like Goose Island. It's $19. We talked about that on the other thing. And then it was a really expensive. It was a fun show. It was definitely different getting back out to shows. And then I caught Alice Cooper in Connecticut, kind of support Sydney Anna Taylor. who now
Yeah,
works
it's
with them,
awesome.
that did the channel and does Pete's channel, of course. It was so fun. I got a good seat. I was like, shit, I ain't been to a show in 2 years. What do I got on StubHub? There's a second or third row. I'm going to bang in and go get that. And then I went back to the Oakdale Theater not too long, a little bit later, and I saw Judas Priest and Queensryche. Had some great seats for that. Queensryche were absolutely amazing, I thought, that night, playing the heaviest of the early material to come out with the start to set, and then debuting 2 new songs. And it was the first night of the second leg of the tour, so Priest performed a bunch of songs for the first time in years. And Genocide was like my highlight. Like, you didn't know, you had no StubHub, you had no set list to look at because you didn't know what they were going to do. So it was like the old days. And Priest did not disappoint. Then we started a venue in Middletown at Quinspins, which is a bowling alley, and I'm booking shows there. We had our first show in October. It was Last Pharaoh, which is local, that band that played the fairgrounds for us, headline. We had 71 Super Creep and Project Insanity kicked off this brand new stage. It was the first time we've had a show in the city of Middletown since the 90s that had a stage with alcohol, literally a venue. So we've done a bunch of shows there, and so that's been working out really well. But going back to what I did, I took on a 2-day back-to-back Tuesday and Wednesday concert, first in Philly at a venue I absolutely love. I've never been there before, and I'm coming back in April because John McEntee is going to be there with a lot more and a bunch of bands for the Decibel Music Fest, the Fillmore in Philadelphia. I really love that place. I saw Sabaton and Epica. And the next night, I drove back to the UBS in Queens. I saw Iron Maiden Within Temptation. Halloween Bash we had in the show. We had Tower from Brooklyn, Heavy Temple from Philly. We had Sun Voyager also back on that thing. I saw Blue Oyster Cult and Sugarloaf on Buck Dharma's 75th birthday. It was his 75th birthday. They played a few extra songs. That was really good. Then I think the show of the year for me was Cannibal Corpse, Dark Funeral, Immolation, and Black Anvil up in Albany. I got to see that. I think somehow I forgot to write. I saw Iron Maiden. I think that kind of wrapped up my national acts, except I did go to the Fillmore again to see the Yamana Marth Carcass Obituary and Cattle Decapitation tour.
And forgetting Merciful Fate. Steve.
Oh yeah, I am forgetting Merciful Fate. Why is that not on this thing? I've been so crazy today. I was making notes the other day. How did I forget? I did 2 Merciful Fate shows. If that's not the top show,
so
yeah,
I'm sorry, but if you remember Papa Roach and not Merciful Fate,
wow, you know what I do? I'm reading off a piece of paper and I skipped the whole paragraph, John. That's how bad I'm nervous because I'm in the same room with John McEntee. It's like when John met the drummer from Black Sabbath. So it makes me nervous. So yeah, so Merciful Fate in Brooklyn with the Creator and Midnight, and then I went to the Philly to the Fillmore for that show too, which I do have noted here. And I don't know. I guess that's got to be the top show of the year for me, the Merciful Fate. Just seeing, they were flawless. They sounded amazing. King sounded on top of the world, but I really liked the Cannibal Corpse and Dark Funeral on top of the world that night, along with the Mighty Immolation. Man, you can't disappoint with Immolation. And I didn't go see John McEntee because I went to see fucking Papa Roach and I got COVID because he was in the area at the same time. I could have probably went.
Oh man!
But I was on with the COVID.
That's for Papa Roach.
I worked like 10 shows at the fairground. I got run down. I was about to get sick, but at least I got it and got over it. And I'm back out and I'm rocking and rolling again. So
no more Papa Roach. No,
not unless you open up for him, Denny. I'll go then.
Never gonna happen.
When they call him, Denny, hey, fill in, man. We need you for the tour.
Fuck it. I'm not doing it.
Well, everybody can make fun of me. That's what I'm here for. So who would like to go next? Does someone have to get off and go to work? Does somebody have time restrictions here tonight? Nope. All right. So we're going to go to Canada and we're going to talk to Denny Barthe and we'll see what he did last year.
Well, I like that sometimes like the the show selection we have up here is different than what you guys have, which just makes it different. But somehow this year it's been pretty much the same. There's a lot of shows. I picked like my 5 favorite shows for the year, not in any order. My favorite one, my favorite one is there's a band here in Vancouver called Witch's Hammer. They've been around since like 1984. They have like original members of Blasphemy in the band, and they're like serious like Satan trash. They're so good. So every year we do a festival in one of my friends' backyard with a bunch of like aggression, sometime Infernal Majesty, sometime like just like guys, local bands, and um, it's always like a shit show. Like it's badly run, it's not organized, but we just bunch of friends going there. Probably a little bit like our friend like Stephen Craig, like when he does his like a yearly
Oh yeah, yeah,
bash
yeah.
party.
Like the
So it's
backyard. Yeah, it's a good
probably
party.
like that, but it was nice to see Witches Hammer. They're playing in Texas this year, I think, at another festival for nuclear war now.
Mm.
But great band, Witches Hammer. I always like to plug them and then push them because they're it's such good
Classic.
trash. It's such good trash. The other show I went that I really enjoy is Incantation and Goat Whore.
Yeah.
I didn't go to Papa Roach. I didn't get
Yeah,
COVID.
come on.
So so me and my buddy Ozzy, he's quite a character. Ask Alex from Immolation about Ozzy. But anyway, we drove the 2 hour down to Seattle to see Incantation and Goat Whore, and every time I see those bands, there's so much distraction around me when it's in Vancouver. But in Seattle, I could actually stand in front of the stage and really appreciate the mastery. Goat Whore was on fire. Ben,
Yes.
what a fucking front man, eh? He's just like
He's
just
amazing.
like yeah, and then Sam, so funny. The guy looks like he's such a character, but a great guitar player, and the entire band was on fire. But I really appreciate seeing you, John, and Incantation, like seeing Luke on guitar. Last time I saw you guys, he was playing bass. And seeing like
Luke's
just
the man on guitar.
yeah, just the how you guys were like the musical movement and the how you had control over the parts and the way that you were like getting the crowd to follow in a very like it's such a good groove of like a very like deep dark death metal that it was I don't know. I mean you're my friend and all that, and I'm not saying that because I know you, but
Yeah,
I
please
really
suck. Please let
I
me
really
know so we can fix it.
but I really enjoyed the night, and I thought you guys were great. So that was one of the show I really enjoyed. I saw like Immolation 3 times last year. I saw them with Cannibal Corpse and Dark Funeral. I also said they played 2 nights in Vancouver back to back, both
Oh.
sold out.
Wow.
And the Thursday night, every band was a bit off, and like as a touring musician, I know some nights, the people who will come see you will be like, "Oh, you guys were great," and you're like, "Fuck, I suck so bad." Like I had like 17 different things I did wrong, but it was funny to see them back to back. The Friday show was way much better than the Thursday show for all 3 bands. Immolation were great. The sound was awesome. They their new album, the material, when they play it live, it sounds so good. Cannibal Corpse, like it was only my second time seeing them. I saw them like I think in Florida in like
Wow.
92 or something.
Really?
And I was like, it was with Eric Rutan and of course George and all that, and I was just like they're such masters at what they do. It's ridiculous. Like it sounds like for 5 guys to make that amount of noise and be in control of it, and like the fucking windmill and like George's neck is like the size of my fucking waist. But like these guys are like it was really good, and I really enjoyed Dark Funeral.
Oh yeah.
Guy, one of the guitar players, a huge Frank Marino fan, so we ended up
Oh
after
really?
backstage talking about Frank Marino. Guys
No.
from like the guy was from some Sweden with thickest accent. I'm speaking with my French English, and like somehow like we made it work. But that was another great show. Um, then I saw that Death Angel, Exodus, and Testament. Spend like the after shows with Will from Death Angel.
Oh yeah.
Way too
That,
many tequila shots, but that's a different story for a different night. But uh, like Exodus, like Gary Old, like is he like is he not like the master trash guitar player? Like
hmm
the way that he delivers, the way that he plays, it was so good. The Exodus sounded like extremely violent, the way that they used to sound like in 85, 86 when I saw them, but they were great. And Testament, love Eric Peterson. Like he's such a just talented guitar player, and like Skolnick and Lombardo was playing drums for them. Like so great, just great bunch of bands together. And then the last one, it's Rage of Armageddon 6. And it's not because Aggression played there. I couldn't care less about that, but it's the chance to see like Blood Feast and Disease and Impaler and it's like The Accused. It's bands like you never get to see. I never thought in my life I would see Blood Feast, and to have the ability to see them with the original lineup. um I thought like the entire weekend was great. King Fowley, what a crazy, this guy's just insane.
Yeah, he is.
But yeah, it was just a well-run show. And I really liked the mix of bands that was there, and ability to see band like that. And when would I see like Death Thrash like ever? So it was great. And Ed, congratulations on a well-run event. Like
Thank you, Dan. It was a pleasure having you.
we'll come and play for you anytime, my friend. It was
All
really
right.
good. So that's it.
Cool.
4 Canadian show, and actually one that I had to go to New York to enjoy. But yeah,
Mm.
it was a good year. All the show in Vancouver, I mentioned it before, it's always sold out now. Like you have to fight to get tickets. I'm actually going to see Anthrax with Black Label and,
Oh
and
yeah.
Exodus, and I have
Yeah.
to get Robin to try to get me in because
Oh.
it's sold out.
I'll tell you
So
what, these tours
yeah.
have all been selling out. Like most all
Yeah.
the shows that I mentioned. And in my defense, Zoom didn't work. I couldn't print my papers. And yeah, I lost the whole second sheet.
Wow.
And now I'm reading the second sheet. It made me look like an idiot. So yeah,
Well,
second sheet was Merciful Fate Creator. And I saw the Testament show. I got to hang out with Will Carroll.
yeah.
We were hanging out and having a drink and watching on the side of the stage. And
Yeah.
I was just watching Testament, and so great with freaking Lombardo. It's like, man, why watch anything else? Just sit here and watch Lombardo work that kid again,
Yep.
because I hadn't seen him with Testament in years, since back in the 90s. I did see the tour he was on then.
So
And
looking forward for 2023 with a lot of great shows again.
yeah,
But yeah, that's it for me. Like it was, every show I went, like it was always like packed, and I like that metal. I feel like metal, like it's kind of
Mhm.
boiling a bit. Like I like it.
every one of these tours I went to see were sold out pretty much.
Yeah.
And there was one show I forgot to mention because it was on my other sheet of paper. We did the Rock Fantasy anniversary party. We caught up and we did our actual 37th. We did the 36th in the summer to make up for the pandemic. And we had All Out War, Morpheus Descends, Winter Nights, Necroptic Engorgement. And that was just a freaking great night. We packed the bowling alley. We must have had over 400 people there. I think people were saying.
Great.
And it
Nice.
was a real fun show. And yeah, next week I'll try to get my notes better. Zoom wouldn't work. It was only me and Rob for 20 minutes tonight. And I was like, why are all these other shows? And I look at my other, I was printing it, only printed one sheet for some reason. But it makes me look like a dummy. I'm a burnout, all that stuff. And let's go on over to Rob Linsanti, since he was here first with me and we had to cut out, get back in.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Thanks for inviting me, and it's nice seeing you guys. Man, last year was weird because I went to a lot of shows, but I didn't go to a lot of. I wanted to go to more shows, but I couldn't. Like Steve, I had gotten COVID last year. I missed a couple shows because of it. I had lined up, and which pissed me off. And actually, both my wife and I, and we, vaccinated and all that shit, but we just happened to catch it, and we were sick for like almost a month.
Wow.
Yeah. But the year started out, I'm trying to remember which show it was. I should have wrote down the exact date, but I think it was, Dream Theater in Oakdale. We talked about going to Oakdale.
Yeah.
Dream Theater in Oakdale. It was an incredible show. I had like third row seats.
Nice.
And it was a really good show. Seeing those guys, the new album was pretty good. So they played most of the album. And then another great show I saw was, of course, like you guys that you were talking about, Steve, was Judas Priest in the beginning of the year. I didn't go the second leg. So I saw them at Jersey at the Prudential with Queensryche opening up for them, which they did all the classics. They didn't do anything really new. I think they did all classic Queensryche songs, if I remember correctly. And of course, Priest brought it on, and they sounded great. I mean, they're great. The Judas Priest, the stage show is always great, and the only thing for me was that I think sometimes Rob is like he's getting older, and but he still sounded pretty good. I mean, I can't complain, and the stage show is still great. That's one thing about Judas Priest. They always bring. I mean, I see them on every tour, them and the guys behind me. So, and then it was. Everybody's been talking about this show, and this show is what blew me away. So I drove. I don't usually drive far. I mean, I try not to, but I went all the way out to Long Island. First time I've ever been to the Paramount.
Yeah, I've been there.
It was my first time. So I saw Testament, Exodus, and Death Angel, and that was an incredible show. What a show! I mean, like you guys like you were talking about, Lombardo was on fire, and I mean everybody, Skolnick. You talk about Eric Peterson. Those guys are great. I mean, I've been into Testament since they came out. And when I saw them, I saw them open up for Priest and Megadeth back in the what was it, 1990 tour.
Yeah,
91 tour. I was at that tour.
I was at that show. I was at that tour, not that show, but yeah.
That show was great. There was actually a pit going on. It was a great show, and it was worth going out there. And I met a lot of cool people. I actually met some friends out there, which was nice. And then another show that I saw this year that I really liked, and I met Pete there and Riccatino and a couple other guys, was Symphony X in Walmart in Jersey with Haken opening up for them. That was an incredible show. Got to hang out with Russell Allen for a little while. He was in the diner that we were eating in. He came over to us and he started talking to us and stuff. So that was pretty cool. And Michael Pond, who's actually I know for a while, he was there and hanging out with us, so that was cool. For me, the other show I saw this year that was really good too, that I was waiting for, because I'm a metalhead, but I still like prog and prog metal and all that stuff. So Petrucci again with Portnoy at Town Hall in the city. That was amazing sound. Everything about it was great. Lynn was there that night. A couple of my buddies were there that night, and that was a great show. What else did I see this year? I'm trying to think. Oh, and then of course Maiden at the
what you got behind it, your backdrop.
Iron Maiden. I gotta say, this year's Iron Maiden tour I thought was better than the last one. This year was they seemed to ramp it up. The stage show was incredible. I mean, everything, the timing was perfect. It was an incredible show. I mean, the pyro and all that. I mean, it was incredible. And I hung out with Chris Allo over there. He was sitting like right in front of me, and a couple of the other guys. Whenever you go to a Maiden show, you always meet people. You always see people you know.
Oh, yeah. I sat with Chris Allo at UBS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, my highlight for the year, for me personally. Now, I'm a guitar guy and a guy. I like guitarists. I've been to Joe Satriani since Surfing with the Alien. Never got to see Joe. Joe finally played the Beacon this year, and I said, I'm going to see Joe. So I had like 20th row. And who's sitting behind me?
Who?
Skolnick.
Really?
Yeah. So I got a picture with him in the hall.
Cool.
So yeah, it was cool seeing Alex. But that's because Alex was Alex's teacher. Was his teacher back out in California. So that's, he's going to see the master. And it was great. Joe did a 2.5 hour set. And I mean, what can I tell you? He's Joe Satriani. So for me, that was a great show. And it was great to see him because, I was thinking the last couple of years, we've been losing guys like crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm 60 years old, and all the guys that I grew up with, they're going. I mean, we just lost Jeff Beck. I saw Jeff I saw Jeff at the Ronnie Lane's tour back in the 80s at the Garden. It's the only time I ever got to see Jeff. So, if you get a chance to see your heroes, go do it because, man, it's time's ticking. It really is. And so my wife says, why are you going to so many shows? I don't know how long I got, and I don't know how long they got. So make the best of it. So
I was going to see anything and everything that was around here just because I didn't go to anything for years.
Oh, and I also wanted to mention the Sea of Tranquility Festival that we had.
Oh, yeah.
So Pat Travers, that was cool. Seeing Pat again. I haven't seen Pat in a few years. So that was cool. And and everybody else. And just seeing everybody hanging out. That was a great time. And of course, the Quinn's Pins 2 weeks ago. Yeah. See the British Steel.
More
show.
Priest.
That was great.
Fun night. That was a real fun night.
I mean, you could see him.
Yeah, he's a Priest fan. Showed up with a Priest shirt and a Priest hoodie at the Priest cover band too. It was good.
So that was the guys were good. I have to say they were good. Because I've been in tribute bands where like, Oh,
they're solid. They've been around for years. They know
solid,
what they're doing, So it's funny you mentioned Satriani because today in the store we just got a used copy of Surfing with the Alien on vinyl. So just put it on the rack today.
Little plug
for me. Yeah, that's what I'm here for, to plug the store. Plug the bands we got on. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining with us. And I'm going to go over to Tony Dio then, and we're going to go over to McEntee and Ed, and we're rounded off with Count Ralphus tonight. One more show that I didn't mention is a show that Denis was going to be on, but couldn't make it to the States in the end. But we had Wrath of Typhon up here with, I'm wearing the shirt for Vicious Blade. Thought they were really cool. And Abuse Ritual played that show that night, and that was a real fun show at the Quinn's also. So, but anyhow, Tony, go ahead.
Yeah, I went to a lot of shows this year, and quite a few actually.
Oh, we just lost him.
We lost Tony.
We lost Tony.
He just shut himself off, I think.
Yeah.
Did he hit the button or something?
Yeah, he hit something. He touched something and then he went off.
Well, you want to go, Ralph, until he comes back?
Yeah, I'll go.
All right. Then we'll go to John and Ed and pop him back in when he gets here.
All right. First off, Denny bring up seeing Death Thrash. They played Middletown, our hometown, twice back in the 80s. They opened up for Howl's Eve one show, and they opened up for Whiplash. And
I was there.
Nice.
One of those shows had Caligula on the bill too, so that was kind of weird how Ed puts together a show with those names on it again all these years later. But yeah, so we did this episode pretty much like this, like 3 months ago, and I had bring out all the shirts and everything from the shows that we've seen. So I'm just gonna fly through the bands that I seen until I get up to more recent ones. But so yeah, I seen Nuclear Assault, Skinless, Ringworm, Brick by Brick, Prong, Overkill, Ace Frehley, Goat Whore, Incantation I seen twice in 2022, Antichrist, Siege Machine, Bat, Accused AD, Aggression, Deceased I seen twice, Nunslaughter, Malignancy, Massacre, Mayhem, Midnight, Demolition Hammer, Mortician, Immolation, some of the local bands, Abuse Ritual, Winter Nights, Wrath of Typhon, Eyes of the Nile, Sick Bay. For some classic rock shows, I seen Roger Waters. I seen The Who up at
Wow.
Bethel
Yep.
after 50 years of them playing there at the original Woodstock site. And I seen Blue Oyster Cult, thanks to Steve hooking me up with tickets day of the show. And I got a picture with Buck Dahmer on his 75th birthday, which was really awesome.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much all the shows I had mentioned the last time. I seen Creator and Merciful Fate. Missed midnight that day because it was a nightmare getting into Brooklyn.
Yep.
I went to that All Out War, Morpheus Descends show at Quinn's, which was really great and helped put that place on the map. I hope for future shows and more national acts to come around. I had missed a couple shows. I didn't go to the Priest or the Maiden show because I go to the Chiller Theater horror convention that month of October every year.
Yeah.
And it's really expensive. So I skipped out on those shows because I want to have a good amount of money to spend at the horror convention. But then I ended up getting COVID right the week of Halloween, and it fucked up all my plans. So I really regret it that I didn't just go to those shows because I didn't end up going to the horror convention. So I wish I would have went to them. I regret that. But it's, it's like you say, Rob was saying, like, you never know when it could be the last time these bands come through. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
So you really got to try to get out there and catch, especially when it's these legendary bands. You never know when it's the last time. You got to try to get out there and catch it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I mean, yeah, I didn't go to too many shows since the last one that we talked about.
Yeah. Well, you hit a couple since then, for sure.
I mean, I went to the British Steel, and that was a real fun night. I love going to the tribute shows because it's like you can like hang out more and bullshit. Like usually when I'm at a show, once the band I'm there for starts, I leave everybody and I go right up front and start thrashing stuff. I don't want to sit there and bullshit about football, weather, or whatever. Once the band starts, I go right into the pit, and that's it. I'm done hanging out. But for a tribute show, it's a lot more fun just to hang out with everybody, and I'm really looking forward to the one next month and all the future local shows that Steve's been putting together up here.
Yeah, we got your birthday party, February 11th. It's Jotunheim from New York City with Show No Mercy, the Slayer tribute, Reaper, and Crucial Pain. People were saying they just saw up at the Chance opening up for somebody. So got those 4 bands for Ralph's birthday, a little thrash, a little black metal, a little Slayer. So should be happy, a little regular metal. So we're going to party down that night. So anybody's in town, please come around on the 11th of February, which is Saturday night. Cool. So Tony, want to continue? Then we'll go to John and end up with Ed. How's that?
Yeah, sorry, guys. The phone call kicked me off for some reason. It must be it's like technical difficulties this evening, it seems like. But anyhow, so I said I saw a lot of shows last year, and whether it was big shows, regional shows, just local bands, cover bands, whatever. I try to go out and see as much stuff as I possibly can. But I kicked my year off. Just going to talk about a few things. I kicked my year off. I went to Houston to the Hell's Heroes Fest.
Nice.
And that was amazing time, over 3 days, and got to see some great classic bands like Candlemass and Sirathungo, who I'd never seen before. They were awesome. Dark Angel, Riot, Whiplash, Exciter, Toxic, Hellstar. It was a great show all around. And then you got a bunch of new up and coming bands, or bands that have come out in the last, 8 to 10 years and so forth on the bill too, like High Spirits and Haunt. And it was one band I really liked. It was called Saber. I thought they were really cool. And Midas, that was another good band that I saw. But that was a great show, and I got to meet some people, from people you only know from like online and stuff like that were there. So many people were there. It was a really, really cool show. And I know they're doing it again this year. I'm not going to be able to afford to go this year, actually, but I hate it because they got a great lineup.
Yeah.
Then the Carolina Chainsaw Massacre Metal Fest that John and Yo-Yo do. It's amazing time. We had a great time last year. So many great bands. I mean, they had Nuclear Assault, Demolition Hammer, of course, the Incantation. We had False Prophet and Eldritch Horror. Just some really good stuff there, and some guests, from the horror world, including Mark Price, who played Ragman in the movie Trick or Treat. It was awesome to meet him. And it was just very, very well put together. And, kudos to John and Yo-Yo. You guys did a really, really good job. And it's coming up again first weekend in May this year. So looking forward to it again. They just announced a lineup the other day. So if you're looking something cool to do, we got something cool in North Carolina, a cool festival. So I went to, someone mentioned King Valley earlier. So my friend Patrick Meager is actually doing a documentary on King Valley called King: A Metal Life. And he invited just a bunch of people to come out. Ed was there. It was an amazing show. It was at a Catholic school in Alexandria, Virginia.
Wow.
It was in the chapel of the Catholic school. Well lit, great acoustics in there, great show. King said, "Hey, we're haunting the chapel for real," and they played a show. They played, a bunch of old deceased, newer deceased, and then they had the original guys, most of the classic lineup of the band with, Mike and Mark and Les and King, all on stage with the current lineup performing, some classic stuff. And that was a really cool show. Looking forward to seeing this film once it's released. I think it's projected for maybe next year. And another one, Iron Maiden was great this year. Really enjoyed them. I saw Kiss again. I said I'll probably never see Kiss again. I actually went. It was my 24th Kiss concert ever in my life. My girlfriend had never seen them, so I'm like, you got to go see Kiss one time.
Sure.
Couldn't believe she'd never seen them. So we went and saw that, and saw Raven and Riot in a club in Raleigh together. It was a Riot Act, actually, which Rick Ventura from Fire Down Under era Riots, his band that plays all the classic stuff from like the first 3 or 4 albums. And that was a great one. Went to M3 this year, the big 80s rock festival in Columbia, Maryland, and that was a good one. It's always good to go to, but it was freezing cold. It was in May, and it was freezing and raining, and they weren't even selling coffee there. I was like, I would have traded 4 beers for a cup of coffee. I was freezing.
Hot
and
chocolate
you
or something, right?
you get all your 80s bands and stuff, but they kind of upped the ante last year. They brought in bands like Leatherwolf and Lizzie Borden, Burning Witches, Doro. And then like BOC was on it, and Skid Row stole the show. I really dug that. But seeing BOC again, that was a great show. They played a good tight set of all their more well-known material instead of going off on some of the deep cuts that they'll do, which I love that stuff. But your average rock fan probably don't know a lot of that stuff, So they fit in well on the show. And like I said, I saw a whole lot of stuff, and I ended up, I think most recently I saw Wasp and Armored Saint, and I'd never seen Armored Saint before, and I've always wanted to see him. I've seen John Bush probably 6 times with Anthrax, but never with Armored Saint. So I finally got to see the Mighty Saint, and they brought it. They came on stage ripping it with Rain of Fire, and it just kick-ass set. And Wasp did an excellent set as well. It was just all classic stuff, and it was a really, really good show. So like I said, looking forward to some cool stuff this year. Got some stuff already brewing on my calendar. So we'll see how it pans out, and hopefully it'll be another good year.
I found it interesting that everyone talked about Wasp on that tour, and not many people mentioned like Armored Saint. Like, didn't you guys see Armored Saint too? Everybody just talks about Wasp, and like, to me, I always liked the Armored Saint better back in the day. The first couple.
I'm a huge Wasp fan. So it was cool. The last time I think I saw them was like 2010 or something at M3 maybe or something. But it's been a while. But like I said, I'd never seen Armored Saint, and I always wanted to see them. And they pretty much got all original members except for Dave, who passed away years ago. Yeah. But they've got still the same lineup that they had since Symbol of Salvation is still going. So,
I think the last time I saw Wasp, I think McEntee was there. It was at the Meadowlands Arena. Were you there,
Might be
Mac?
right.
7th Star?
That's
Oh
I
yeah, when
might-
they toured with Sabbath. Wow, crazy.
What was that? Was that show they did with? Was it Slayer and Raven? Was that after that or before that? I forget.
At the Capitol Theater?
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw that one too. And
I can't remember what the order was of those shows.
Slayer
but
mopped the floor with them that night, but who didn't
they
back then?
Yeah, they killed it at that show.
I went to a horror convention once in Jersey, and they had all these wrestlers, and Elvira was there, and Wasp was playing the show. Wasp was
So
playing
I was there, so that's the last time I saw him. I was there that night.
I
Wow.
left before they even came on. They had all their stuff set up, but at that point, I just had no interest in Wasp. I did the convention, and I left.
My memory's hazy. Pete Steele was there from Typo Negative too.
Pete Steele was there.
It was this crazy horror like toy convention, and they had the top wrestlers. They had like Goldberg and Undertaker, and they had Elvira, they had Typo Negative, they had Wasp play. I remember, I don't think I stayed for Wasp either because we had some like, we had our rock and roll stand there and toy stand or whatever. And these guys came over and saw some stuff they had, and they thought it might have been like bootleg, like stickers or something. And they said, all right, you guys wait here and come back. I looked at the crew. I was like, how fast can we pack up and get the fuck out of here? Wow. It was just, I didn't need to get like cited for something. And I was like, we packed up and we got out. So I don't know if I stayed. I wasn't probably interested in Wasp in 1998 either, whenever that year was. That the people that ran that promotion disappeared. We never seen them again. I think they went belly up. They must have spent so much money on guests. But anyhow, I'm interrupting, but
Crazy.
Yeah. The old days. So Mr. McEntee, what did you do last year?
Well, it was a busy as hell year. I mean, between trying to put on our fest and touring, finally opening up and stuff, it was kind of like a whirlwind.
Yeah.
I didn't get to go to see that many shows just because I've been gone most of the time. So it kind of sucks still, because there's a bunch of shows I wanted to see, but I just wasn't around to see them. But I can't complain for sure.
So who did you tour with last year? Did you tour just in the United States, or did you went to? Yeah, so tell us.
Okay, well, it started off. We did like a headlining tour of Europe where it was like just us with local support on like midweek shows and festivals on a weekend kind of thing. And that was in July. That was about a month after our fest. Did that, and that it was really, really awesome because it just seemed like the vibe was just so great on that tour. People were just really hungry for metal and stuff, and it just I guess really for all the touring we've done this year, it felt like it was back in the 80s or early 90s where people were just super hungry for it and stuff wasn't so it was taken away from everybody for a while. So it was really fun to do that. And during that run, I mean, we played mostly, say, death metal, grind, and kind of underground festivals and stuff, but they all work really good. I mean, you did Obscene Extreme, which was just it's a really fun festival to do. It just has a total like freak show vibe to it. And there was something that was just really magical about the show when we played it. It just felt like all the cards just fell into place, like the place was just packed, people really paying attention to us playing. The vibe, it just got to be dark when we started playing. So we were the first band that played once it got dark outside, just between the lights and the smoke and everything. It just felt really good. And it was like just a great way to kind of get back into the whole thing, is just, feeling the vibe, the great vibe of jamming with the guys and a killer show and just a crowd hungry for it. So it was, I mean, really that was throughout the whole European tour, but really, Obscene Extreme was one of the highlights. It always is for sure when we hit Europe on the fest circuit. But a fest that we played that was really fun and really interesting for us was we played the Desert Fest in Antwerp, Belgium, which was mostly like a stoner type fest and stuff. And I think we were the only like kind of death metalish band on the whole thing. was like the day we played with Beelzebong, Lucifer, Bong Ripper, and then the headliner was Wolves in the Throne Room. Stygian
Okay.
Bow was also on that. And that was the other. I'm sorry, I get European tours confused. We did 2 European tours. That was the one in October. But anyway, getting back to this one, it was really, really fun because we were actually the opening band, because I think they didn't know where to put us on the fest because we really didn't fit in with anybody. And we were stuck on tour with Wolves in the Throne Room and Stygian Bow, which both bands kind of fit more on that bill. We were kind of like the oddball band. And we were playing like this really big room at this venue. And we were just like, oh, it's going to be empty. We're going to be screwed, because it's totally not our crowd. And then once we played, it was fucking packed to the gills. And it seemed like people were so happy just to see something that was a little more upbeat than just, doom and like, because it had just a lot of like really, really stoner stuff. I mean, like I said, our day was like Beelzebong. Like half the bands had bong in their names. Like we were joking, like it would be Bing Bong Tation, Beelzebong, Lucibong, or Bongsifer. It was Bong Ripper and Wolves in the Bong Room.
Well, watch out! Someone's going to start a band called that tomorrow. You already got we already have Cannabis Corpse out there.
Yeah,
but
Bong Station.
But yeah, and besides the fact that it was a great show. I mean, it was just really satisfying. I think when we play for a show that isn't in our normal wheel well as far as like style and stuff, and we're still able to kill it, is just a really fun vibe. But a band that I see on that, which I was really happy that they were playing, was Lucifer, because I've been friends with Nicky Anderson since the tape trading days.
Wow.
And I didn't know much about Lucifer, the band, but I was happy to see, Nicky and kind of reconnect with him because I haven't seen him for years. Anyway, I watched their set and holy crap, was that band good. I mean, they were so good. It was a mesmerizing set. I mean, just the overall presence on stage of the band, and it's just good old like 70s kind of heavy metal rock, like the kind that you would like right from the 70s, it sounds like. And it's like, I'm not one that always likes bands that do that kind of 70s retro thing, because sometimes it just comes across as it doesn't come across authentic to me a lot of times. You could tell that they're trying, but there was something, you could tell there was a passion there. There was a feeling in there where it wasn't just about, ripping off bands that people might not know a lot of and just trying to copy it. There was actually a lot of soul in the music and stuff. So I was really impressed. And I totally went into it not knowing what to expect, because I might have heard their stuff a little bit in passing here and there, but like seeing them live, it was just like, once I heard them, I was like, holy crap. And all of us were just like, this is really something special. I mean, all of us in the band were just like in awe watching them play. So that was a really great opportunity. It's just great to watch a band that you really didn't even know too much about, and they just totally blow you away, and that's what's totally with Lucifer. And it's definitely a band that I hope we get to see live again, and I hope they get to do some stuff in the US, because I think people will be really impressed with their performance.
I don't know if they've ever been to the States. Have they? Anyone?
They came over for a tour. I know they toured in 19 because I had tickets and something came up and I couldn't go, but they actually East Coast tour in 19.
Hey, I like that band a lot too, John.
Yeah, it was just nice because it was a band I totally just wasn't even on that page to even think about it. It wasn't like I was anything against it. It just wasn't even expecting to be blown away by it. No, it's always fun. I mean, when I get that opportunity, when you watch a band and because sometimes hearing a band on an album, it's good, but once you see live with the energy, and especially if they have that vibe as a full band, it makes it a really great experience, because on album it's nice, but you could fix things on albums, things could kind of be artificial, but when you watch the band, just kill it. So yeah, that was super impressive. And yeah, I really had a great time with that. Getting back to the other tours, yeah, um, Denny was saying is that we did the tour with the Goat Whore, which was awesome. That was in August, and I mean that was an amazing run too. I mean the shows were really great turnouts at all the shows, and but it really refueled my love for Goat Whore because I actually kind of passed him up for a little while. It wasn't that I had anything against him. It's just that I don't know. I just didn't pay attention to him for a while. There's no really good reason why I didn't. It just they just passed me on the radar. Even though I've known those guys forever, but after watching them play live and doing that tour with them, I mean, I could see why they're one of the leading I guess like black death metal bands in the States. I mean, what's it? Ben, is just an amazing front man. I mean, besides being an incredibly stand-up guy, one of the nicest guys, I think, in metal, and hard workers, he's a great front man. Really, the whole band was just a pleasure to be around and just kicked ass. And to tour with a band like that is a great thing too, because you want to bands to tour with that are going to kick ass, and because you want to it gives you inspiration as a player to want to play better when you're playing with people that are doing so are really kicking ass every night. So I always bring it on, and we want it to be a strong show, and it worked out great. And the other bands on the tour were great too, but definitely Goat Whore, I have a lot more respect for him after touring with them and witnessing their, just brutality every night. It was fucking awesome.
You almost toured with him like 20 years ago. I caught
Yes.
that first show. We talked about that on that.
Yes. Yeah, we officially toured with them, but we only lasted 2 shows because Mikey got stabbed, which
I remember the story. Yeah.
So I would have considered this tour a success if no one got stabbed, but it went way better than that, But
it had to be a killer tour, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was really great, and then we did another tour we did with Suffocation, and this was in South America.
Nice.
And for death metal people, to see the Incantation Suffocation tour, something people like, and they like that old New York death metal connection that we have. We have similar upbringings, but we're different. Our styles are different, but we have a similar, from the same area, and just kind of share a lot of the same history. So it's always great to tour with them. They're super fun guys, and I mean they absolutely killed it every night. I mean, it just the brutality and the technical ability of those guys is just incredible, that they can play that stuff so precisely and so heavy, and just it's so catchy, and just it was a lot of fun. I mean, it's crazy because there were so many highlights on that tour besides just fun times of hanging out with them. It was just so many highlights. I think I don't know, maybe Bogota, Colombia was the highlight if I had to. It's hard to say because there were so many of them, but it was just the show was so packed. I don't know how many people were there, but I mean it had to have been 1,000 plus size venue that was just packed to the gills, like tight, like way over capacity in the States, and it was just like you couldn't move. You could if you left the club, it would have took you like a half an hour to get backstage with bodyguards trying to stop people from attack. It was just the craziest thing, and it was just nonstop insanity. I mean, for both of our set and Suffocation set, it was just like a constant pit of everyone just I mean, it literally looked like people might have died at the show. And if they did, I wouldn't have been surprised, because it was that crazy. I mean, there was even a fight in front of me while we played where some guy got his face all bloody, beaten. we feel very fortunate that we were able to play again with Suffocation, and I really hope we could bring the Suffocation Incantation tour to the States or to Europe. I think it would be a really cool
I would
thing.
like that.
And then, and then the other tour, like I said, the one we did with Wolves in the Throne Room and Stygian Bow was also really a fun tour for us to do because it was totally two bands that are totally different than us. I mean, if you know Wolves in the Throne Room, it's a melodic black metal thing, and Stygian Bow is basically Bell Witch with an extra guy in the band, which is like a total doom, almost I don't know how to explain it. It's like some influenced or something, and then like we would come out, so it'd be like totally somber doom in the beginning, like super somber, like you could hear a pin drop, and then it was like we would play, it was almost like we brought the party to the show. And then after we finished, it got really somber and morbid for Wolves in the Throne Room, but it made for a really cool vibe every night, and we had a blast doing that. As far as shows that I've been to, I went to that Merciful Fate show. Luckily, I got back in time to see that one. I mean, I missed a whole bunch of other shows I wanted to see, but I got to see the Merciful Fate one. We actually drove up from North Carolina to Philly to see the show because it was just, it was a week after we got back. And I'm like, I gotta see it.
That was so
if I'm home, I have to see it. And I have to say, it was amazing. I mean, Merciful Fate sounded so good. It was just the set was just amazing. The songs were all amazing songs. It sounded great. Stage show was great. It was just really it was a real treat for a Merciful Fate fan to see this tour. I think they really done it. They really did a great job for all their fans. It's something that anyone from a new fan to an old school Merciful Fate fan would enjoy. It was great to see that Midnight was on that show too. I was really happy for them to get that opening slot. They've been doing amazing Midnight over the last couple of years, but it's so great to see them get that kind of exposure playing a Merciful Fate, one of the most important bands in metal. There was trying to think, there was a few other shows I seen what was something else they said? I can't think of it now, but if I think of it, I guess I'll interrupt. But the one we played was the Ed Farshtey show that he put on for the for Brian Patterson's The Day of Death. That was really cool. We had a great time playing the show, but it was the Deceased killed it at that show. They were so good. It was so fun to see him because they played the Carolina Fest that I did, but because they played our fest, I didn't get to see them. I don't get to see a band, so it's nice to be able to see a band at someone else's show. So I could actually enjoy it. And it was really great to see because it's so awesome to see King Fowley on fire. To this day, still have the same enthusiasm, and just he's such a great front man. It's really awesome. And I know there's something I'm missing, but last year's been a whirlwind for me. I was really bummed out. I wanted to see the Iron Maiden tour real bad. There was a bunch of other tours I wanted to see, but I just been gone, and I'm back on track, and hopefully I get to see some shows this year before the whole whirlwind of touring starts. It's like one of the things that is a bummer about touring is that you miss, besides missing stuff at home and some of the enjoyments at home, you miss some shows you want to see, especially when it's stuff that if you don't see them on this time around, you're going to miss it.
Didn't you tour with Nile too this year?
Crap! Yeah, see, it was so long ago. Yes, we toured with Nile this year too. That was still this year. That was a great tour for us too. We did really good in that tour, and we had a real blast. The former singer actually now of Nile, Brad. It was really great to hang out with Brad and tour with him. He was really good, and our new guitar player Scott. It's also super cool and stuff. We really had a blast on that tour. And we got to hang out with the Sangwa Shish Kebab, play with them every night. You know, they're like, you know, I didn't have super high expectations of them before the tour, but after seeing them play live, I totally could see why they're one of the strongest new, like, I don't know what they're considered, like a gore grind band or something like that, because they really brought it every night and really killed it every night. Their songs are super catchy and it just really crushed. And also, IM opened up that tour, and they were also a really killer band too. Not in my normal style of what I like. Is kind of like if Pantera was like death metal or something, but still very impressive at what they did, and they brought it on. Like they started the night off really strong every night. It was a great way to get back into kind of the touring cycle and stuff like that, to just go out there on such a killer tour. You know, yeah, I mean, really, 2022 has been a very fortunate year for me, besides missing a lot of shows, as far as playing shows and getting through the hump of doing our first Carolina Chainsaw Massacre Fest. It was a year I feel really accomplished, you know, of the work that, you know, I've done with the band and the work that Yo-Yo and I have done with the Carolina Chainsaw Massacre. That was definitely something I never thought in my life I'd be able to do, is put on my own fest, and to have the first one with bands like Nuclear Assault and Demolition Hammer, and just you know, I mean, all the bands. It was just a total blast. And yeah, it's as far as the fest goes, real quickly, it's great that it went so well, because we're able to do it again and hopefully continue to bring something great to this part of the country that doesn't quite get as much recognition as it should for its metal scene. We're trying to hopefully build it up and build it up with the horror scene. We're hoping that this year does even better, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I gotta thank Tony and Ed too for helping out a lot. They've helped out a lot on both fests, last year's and this year's. And of course, we have Aggression this year, and we have you know, what's it, Castrator. We had to have a Rock Fantasy connection with it. You know, and Steven's been, you know, helping out with stuff too. So it's been really awesome. You know, and I do have to be fair and thank the Rock Fantasy Files, you know, my friends from here, because you guys help a lot with a lot of the connections that I've gotten to be able to bring, you know, some cool stuff there. I mean, having to read St. Mark's was a direct Rock Fantasy connection, you know, and also kind of reconnecting with Ed Farshtey and, you know, getting to know Tony and stuff was all, you know, part of the whole thing, you know. And Robin too, you know, getting good with Robin really helped out a lot too, especially this year with having both Gruesome and Castrator play.
So they're both coming to the fest this year. Gruesome's going to be there. Oh, cool.
Yeah, and hopefully we can get you down here. I know it's a far trip for you,
but
it's great to have you.
Tough to get me out with my wife and everything. It's just at least I'm able to get my days and get to Philly and get around. But yeah, I was going to go to Florida, and that didn't work out either with my wife at the moment. But I would love to get down there, not this year, sometime.
Well, just know there's a spot waiting for you when you're ready.
Thank you so much. And I got to see Robin this year when she was working merch for Obituary. It was nice to, you know, see some people face to face, not just in Zoom. But man, thank God for this Rock Fantasy Files and Pete Pardo's show. It really gave us something to do in the pandemic. The pandemic years brought a lot of us together on the channel, and it means so much to me. And I'm so glad to have you back on now, John, because
thank you.
I mean, we're all getting busy, and it's tough to sit down and look at me. I made notes. I forgot a whole sheet. I look like an idiot today. But we better go down and talk to Ed and see what he's got to say. And well, before we go to Ed, John, so do you have any tours planned for this year, or something you can't really talk about yet?
The only stuff to talk about that I have is the Beer and Metal Fest that we're doing in
Philly.
April in Philly. Yeah, that's going to be a blast. They asked us to do the Diabolical Conquest album, which okay, we'll do it. I mean, you know, I'm not super psyched on doing full albums live, but I
Okay.
think Diabolical Conquest could work. And we only played that in its entirety one time before, so I'm psyched about that. And then yeah, the Caroline Chainsaw Massacre we're doing, and then we have a couple fest out in Europe that we're working on.
Nice.
Working on a European tour at the moment. But we have a bunch of stuff. We're working on a US tour. We have a new album coming out.
Cool.
And we have some other South American places we didn't play last time that we're looking at. So it's going to still be a busy year for sure. You know, once the new album comes out, it'll probably be back to the whirlwind of metal.
Do you have a date for the new album yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
We're waiting on the final artwork. It's like everything's done except the artwork. No matter how early in advance we tell the artist to get the artwork done, it seems like always at the end we're like, okay, let's get it. You know, let's get this final. Come on, let's go. You know, I mean, 8 months. You know, we gave the artist. You know, and we thought, okay, we told we need it by November. Well, it's January, almost February. That's the way it goes every time. It's the artwork that's we're waiting on, you know.
So when you're doing the show in Philadelphia, are you just playing that album with no other material, or you're just doing
just that album from the beginning to end, and it should fit in the set time pretty good. I mean, the last song of that album is really just a bunch of noise, so we could end it whenever they tell us to stop. We'll just stop playing, you know.
Cool. And is that the Saturday of that festival or the Friday?
Yeah, we play this. We play the Saturday. We have actually a really great prime spot because I think we're probably going on 8 or 9 o'clock on Saturday, which is really good spot. And what the headliners I think our night is Suicidal Tendencies and is I Hate God, I think is
I think I Hate God is on that night too. Yeah. And All Out War is also.
It'd be great.
Here. Yeah,
cool. Gorguts put on that tour. I mean that show too. Gorguts.
Yes, they're playing. I think the Friday.
Yeah,
it'd be awesome to see those guys.
I think I'm just coming Saturday to see you guys.
Well, thank you.
And whoever else is playing up there. I don't think I can do 2 nights down there, but hey, we'll have to get some cheesesteaks when I'm down there.
Hell yeah.
Cool. So Ed, what's going on, bro? Sorry to make you wait till all the 12th of never here.
Well, good. Basically 2022 was a really great year for shows. So great to be able to go out again, go to concerts, hang out with people again after not doing it for 2 years. So unfortunately I didn't get to go to as many shows as I wanted to because I was working so damn much. But I did see a bunch of great shows. What I did basically, I broke down my concerts into categories. So we'll start with the best show of the year. I think it's pretty universal, the Merciful Fate show. It was just absolutely flawless. I mean, King's voice, the musicianship, the stage setup, the song list was just perfect.
Insane,
perfect in every
right?
way. You can't beat it. It was top 10, 100% fantastic. Creator were great. They're always great. Set list is typical Creator, you know, a couple of the albums, you know, Terrible Certainty, Pleasure to Kill, some new stuff, but all good stuff. They always kill it live. Midnight, unfortunately, I missed. Got there late, as everybody did. Pain in the ass getting to that venue, even though I was taking the train, it was still a pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah. So, it took us 4 hours to get there. It should take us an hour and a half.
Yeah, everybody had nightmares stories about getting out there. Great fucking venue. Great venue.
It is.
To get to.
Where's it at?
King's
Brooklyn.
Theater in Brooklyn.
Yeah, it's out in Brooklyn now. So it's a pain in the ass. Like a great spot. And that was by far, like I said, the best show of the year. The last show I saw was also a great one. Bulldozer, Deceased, and Aries Kingdom at St. Vitus. That was my last show of the year. Great show. One of the reasons I loved it so much is I didn't book it. And I was really happy to go and just enjoy myself.
It's always fun.
I've booked pretty much every Deceased New York area show in the last 12 years. King's a good friend of mine. I love the band. I'll book it every chance I get. They didn't ask me to book it, and I thanked them for it because I got to go in and just enjoy myself.
Go party.
Watch the band. Yeah. It was packed house. Bulldozer killed it. Aries Kingdom were phenomenal. Deceased, mind blowing as always, just 100%. So really great show. Best week ever for me. Within 7 days, going to see Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Queensryche, and Accept. it was just mind blowing.
Wow.
Nobody mentioned Accept.
I didn't
thought
see
that was
him.
one of the best shows of the year. I absolutely love Accept. I love Mark's vocals. I love what he brings to the band. I love the last few albums.
They played down the street from me.
Was that?
They played right down the street. I live in Peekskill, New York.
Okay.
They played at the Paramount, but I couldn't make it then. I had something else going on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it was just mind blowing. They did Son of a Bitch, Breakers, Starlight. Just everything. I'm a Rebel.
Cool. Really?
Just a brutal set. Worst show of the year for me was Judas Priest and Queensryche at Prudential for various reasons.
Wow.
First off, I'm not a computer guy. I'm not a phone guy. I had my tickets on the phone for the show, and I get to the door, they wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Try again, wouldn't work. Apparently, the company I got the tickets from sent me an older barcode. I don't know barcodes, so I'm going up and fighting with the guys. I got my fucking tickets here, let me in. 45 minutes later, even more than that, basically we gave up, had to buy more tickets to get in.
Oh my God.
They couldn't send me the new barcode because there was nobody there or something. They were waiting for an email to get the new barcode to send me. I'm sitting there, I can barely hear Queensryche playing in the background. Missed the whole Queensryche set. So me and Greg had to buy new tickets and go in. By that point, I was completely pissed off. Just in a terrible place. Go to buy a beer. Can't even buy a beer because all I had was cash on me, and all they take is credit cards.
And they're $20.
Oh man!
And plus, after all that, to be quite frank, Judas Priest set that night was disappointing. They just did the regular stuff, nothing special. Whereas the second leg of the tour, that's when they broke out Steeler, Genocide, and Beyond the Realms, and it was just that set was the 50th anniversary tour, one of the best Priest shows I've ever seen. The first leg was kind of disappointing, but that was the worst show I was at this year for all those other reasons.
Tickets only on phones suck.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I had the same problem. I at King Diamond at the Merciful Fate show in King's Theater.
Right.
It didn't work. So they took me over and they sent me to the booth over to somewhere the ticket master was, and they printed me a ticket.
Yep, that's the way.
Because it was just spinning. It was just spinning. And then then the Iron Maiden show at UBS, I went to that. I try to go in. It won't read. They took me. They brought me over to something else. Thank God I got there an hour earlier. I would have missed. Not that I cared much about that opener that night anyhow. But then I go in. They give me a seat that's behind the curtain.
The pole.
So I had to go back up. And they said, "Well, go up and see this guy." So he wanted to give me another seat that was way over the other side of the arena. I'm like, no, I got a seat that's like second row on the side of the stage.
Fuck that, yeah.
So then I see Chris Allo there, and Chris Allo's with I don't know if it's someone, I forget, it was one of his friends. And there was a nice lady that was down there. She was one of the ushers, and she said, "Hey, go down to the bottom of the thing, see this guy." And then I got to sit with them, and it was a VIP area that some giant conglomerate has. And we got to sit in some of the seats because they didn't care about the heavy metal show.
They weren't going.
So so those things on the I had to go out and buy another smartphone because I had the same one because my battery would go dead. There was no way I'd get through a show and be able to come back to my seat. And I just like printing them out. I don't care if it kills the environment or hurts a tree or whatever it is. I like the paper ticket in my wallet.
Yep. This way you're getting in. Yeah.
You got to constantly going back in. You're trying to hold a beer and you're holding this up to go back down. And
yep.
And that whole arena thing around New York City, I don't know what it's like around the rest of the world. It's too expensive. I don't know how anybody can have like a hockey season tickets and go drink beer every night. It's $20 per beer. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Top.
Hot dogs like $10, cream. An ice cream sandwich at UBS was like $15.
Ridiculous.
Fuck out of here.
It's so unfair.
That's getting crazy.
That's why I always drink like a 12-pack before I get in there. That way,
absolutely. You got a pregame.
If I drank a 12-pack, I wouldn't see the show, Ralph.
Me neither.
I could have a 2-pack.
I'd be in jail.
You'll be in jail. Ralph's got a higher tolerance of alcohol than me.
Okay. My bucket list show for the year was Blue Oyster Cult.
Nice.
for various reasons, I've never seen them live.
Wow.
I mean, I grew up in Queens. They're from Long Island. I heard the commercials every, several months. Blue Oyster Cult, Soft White Underbelly. Just for whatever reasons, never saw them live. So finally, my friend Chris got last-minute tickets for out in Westbury. We went for the 50th anniversary tour. Mind-blowing show. Mind-blowing show. Fantastic band. So glad I finally got to see them. Special mention, Roger Waters. Pink Floyd's my all-time favorite band. Absolutely love them. I could do without the political stuff, but I smoked so much freaking weed that night. I just stopped watching the screen when he put all the political shit up there and just listened to the music. So it was an absolutely phenomenal concert. He always is the best. I love Floyd. Can't go wrong with them.
That was my show of the year until the Merciful Fate show happened. But when I seen Roger Waters again up in Albany, and it was fucking amazing. That stage show was unbelievable.
Oh, absolutely great show. Always. He sounds great. Killer set list. Great show. My most heartwarming show of the year, as Tony mentioned, the Deceased show in Virginia. Basically seeing King with Mark, Mike, and Les back on stage, and even Mike's daughter was on stage with them, was just, I didn't even want to be on stage for that. He brought a whole bunch of people on stage for the filming. I just wanted to stand in the audience and just watch again, because it wasn't my show. I got to enjoy it and just to watch them, just to take it in. And it was just, I just stood there almost crying. It felt so good to see those guys on stage again, to hang out with them again. So that just meant so much to me. And so many old friends were there. It was like a 1988 reunion. It was fucking great. So that was a hell of a show. Most fun show of the year for me, Carolina Chainsaw Fest. John, you and Yo-Yo did one hell of a creation putting this thing together. I worked my ass off that weekend,
Yes,
but
you
I got
did.
to enjoy as much of it as I could, and just the whole atmosphere and vibe of that weekend was just on 10. It was just so much fun. Everybody had a blast. Everywhere you look, people were having fun, watching the bands, talking to people, going through the booths, being chased by people with chainsaws. It was just a great time. I can't wait to do it again with you, John. That was absolutely, like I said, I worked my ass off, but it was still the most fun I had.
Yeah, I have to thank you, Ed, because you really stepped up to the plate. It would have been a total mess if you weren't there, because there was way too much work for me to handle on my own. So I totally appreciate it.
There was a lot of work, yeah.
I mean, but between Yo-Yo and I, we were already running around like chickens with our heads cut off. Without you being able to take care of stuff, I don't know, we might both be dead right now.
It was my pleasure. Now I know what I'm got my hand involved with.
But now you
exactly what to expect this time.
But you got to watch out, because now you're going to have Bigfoot down there with a chainsaw. That could be really scary.
Yeah, really.
A Bigfoot sighting in North Carolina with an electric saw. You might not have a chainsaw. You might just have a table saw.
There you go.
No, I have a chainsaw. Don't worry about it.
They're gonna let you through customs with that.
In Canada, you guys have to have a chainsaw, I think, right?
You get it when you're 5 years old. They give it like as a.
You gotta cut the firewood.
You go to kindergarten.
So is there?
The only thing else I have, just the fests from this year. Only made it to 3 fests, 2 of which were mine. MDF's always great. It's always great hanging out, seeing people. Highlight of the weekend, Triumph of Death. Hellhammer would just, again, it was a band, basically, they started from the opening notes, just like a warm feeling just overtook me. Just like seeing Hellhammer live, something you never thought would happen in 40 years. And they just sounded phenomenal. Just absolutely phenomenal. Cavalera, again, fantastic. I mean, basically, I've seen Max play good. I've seen Max play bad over the years. Him and Igor stepped up so much.
Wow.
They sounded like Sepultura did back in the 80s. It was just a brutal set. They sounded so fantastic. It was just, and then so many other bands that night, that weekend, Monstrosity, Frizzy to Fulci was my other highlight. Playing the Fulci, all the theme music for all the movies was a trip. That was a real trip for me. That was a lot of fun.
I wanted to see that.
Watch of War, Immolation, Autopsy, great weekend. As far as my fests, Of course, I love all the bands I booked because that's why I booked them in the first place. Like Rage of Armageddon 6, I mean, Killer Lineup, Impaler, Aggression, Deceased, all did fantastic sets. My personal highlights, Wretch. The band from Ohio just killed it on every level. Mind blowing. It was so just perfect heavy metal band. Just mind blowing. And Caligula and Eviction. Two bands I've loved back in
Caligula
the
would be
80s.
great to see.
Wow.
And
It's been years.
both those bands, this is the first show they've done in like 35 years. This is their reunion shows. And both bands killed it. They brought it like they did back in the 80s.
I got an Eviction sticker on a freaking case in my store from like 80 whenever.
I got a bunch of those Eviction stickers all over the place too.
Yeah.
And it's great. And the last thing is the Day of Death 3. John mentioned Incantation, Massacre, Deceased, Nunslaughter, Malignancy. Just a great night. Turnout could have been a little better, but it was still a great night. The bands absolutely killed it, and it was all for a hell of a great cause. Tribute to Brian Patterson, cancer benefit, and it was just a really great night that meant a lot to everybody that was there. Hell of a year, great year. I'm looking forward to a lot of stuff this year. Carolina Chainsaw Fest again. A couple other things I got in the works myself, and some other shows I'm looking forward to. So hopefully this year will be even better.
Definitely. And hey, it was great having everybody on again tonight. We got to think up something to do next week. We were supposed to do Black Sabbath, Born Again, Ozzy, Bark at the Moon, and Dio Holy Diver.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you said Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath we were doing.
I want to do that too, but I wanted Chris Allo's away in Florida. He couldn't make it tonight because he was getting ready to go away, and he's going to be away in Florida next week. So I'd like to have him on anything Sabbath.
I agree. He always has some nuggets there that he pulls out. You're just like, what?
We will think up something for next week. So does anybody else have anything they want to add? Something you're really looking forward to seeing next year? If you got one show you're thinking of, or any tours you've heard of? I mean,
actually,
I pretty much
Metal Threat Fest and the Carolina Chainsaw Fest. Those are the two fests I'm really looking forward to this year.
Same here.
Absolutely.
In March, Crisian and Vader, Decrepit Birth, they're coming to that place where Goat Whore and Incantation played in the city.
Oh, they are? That's a tour? I didn't even know about that.
Tour, right? Clash of the Titans, Creator, Sepultura, Death Angel, and Spirit World.
I heard about that. So what was the tour you said, Count Ralphus? It was Crisian?
Yeah, Decrepit Birth, Crisian, and Vader headlining.
Wow.
That La Poison Rouge, Rogue, or whatever.
I never been to that place in New York City.
That's a tiny place. That's a tiny place.
Tiny.
Yeah.
I'm seeing Halloween in May, and I've never seen Halloween, so I'm really looking forward to that with Hammerfall.
I want to.
40 years.
It's Pumpkins United, so they've still got Michael Kiske and Kai Hansen touring with them, so that's going to be really cool.
That's cool.
You won't be disappointed because I saw the Pumpkins United when it came around for the pandemic, and I hope to see that show too. I want to go see Powerwolf too. The first time in the States, they're going to be in the city. That thing sold out in an hour, so I'll have to StubHub it. But everything sells out because we were all locked up for 2 years, and even if you can't afford to go to a show, it seems like everybody's going to a show. You know?
Yep.
Everything I saw last year was hard to get tickets for, and like John said, you know, we all been saying it's great to go out and see friends again. Dude, it was great to just go to a bar, have a beer and something to eat, and sit at a bar and talk to a bartender. I thought that was really nice. So thank God we're kind of back to some kind of normalcy, and you know, so I guess we'll wrap this episode up, and we will see you guys next time. We decide to all come together here and sit on a Zoom. I will try to be more organized next time. I was very unorganized for 2 in a row now. 2 in a row. I get nervous with McEntee in the room.
Just remember, I'm from Jersey, so I'm used to sarcasm, you know.
Hey, you forgot one show too. You forgot a tour, so I guess I'm not completely.
Yes.
It wasn't just me.
The one show I wanted to bring up that I forgot was the Wasp show, because I got to see that too.
Did you go?
Yeah, and I was kind of disappointed with it. I mean, the songs that Wasp played were good, but they cut like too many medleys in the set, you know, which really annoyed me. And it just, I don't know.
I heard there was a backing track going on or something. There was some kind of
Yeah, he's using backing
There's
tracks.
A lot of it,
singing
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
But
It was like, I don't know, it was like they were playing to like their videos and stuff, and it was cool to see the old videos, but I don't know, from how much he was talking it up beforehand, I was just expecting a little more because it just seemed, I think he just, in my opinion, he just overhyped it, Blackie did. And when he got to do, it's not that it was terrible, it just wasn't great. It was the best time I've seen Wasp since, the 80s or whatever. But I mean, I don't know. I can't help it. When I see Wasp, I want to see like the skull with him pouring the blood on him, or just like,
Raw meat
something on
into
fire,
Raw meat,
logo on
remember those
fire.
days? Yeah.
But he's doing was it a 40th year anniversary? You would think that he would add in some of those like great little things that he did early on, just to kind of, bring back that old school vibe to it. But they did the "Fuck Like a Beast" song, but they didn't play the full thing of it, and he did it in a way where he tried to like legitimize it by adding the whole PMRC video before it, and then play the "Fuck Like a Beast." And I don't know, I was kind of like, just fucking play the song. We know this is the PMRC story. Just play the song and be proud of it.
I'll tell you,
if your own songs offend you, what the hell planet are we on here?
Yeah, he wouldn't play that song for years because it was offensive, he said. But my problem with the Wasp tour was I probably would have go. I had a couple friends that wanted to go. One couldn't go, and I said and I just saw Merciful Fate twice within like a week. I don't think I'm going to like this show because Fate was just so head and shoulders above.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how the Fate show might have also diluted it a little bit because the Fate show was so good. On the Wasp show, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't terrible. Like no one played bad. Like nothing was wrong with it. It just to me just wasn't like special. And they played a lot of good songs, but it was just like a lot of the cool tracks like Tormentor and all these ones from the first album. They would play like 2 minutes or a minute and a half of it and switch off. And I don't know. I mean, they do a medley, maybe do like one little medley, but they did a bunch of medleys through the set. And it's like, I don't want to watch a band play a bunch of medleys. I'd rather just watch less songs, play some good ones, and then next time come and play some different good ones and mix it in there or something, At least that's my opinion. But anyway, that's my little rant. I just thought about
a rant once in a while. Hey, Chris Allo had a wonderful rant about that Wasp show. He said that he was good and he doesn't need to see him for another 40 years. So.
Feel that way too.
but Chris is like that, Chris is great. So we gotta come back and do the Sabbath episodes when Chris is available, and hopefully John's not on a tour yet or anything, and he's still hanging out with us. So
that'll be good for next couple months.
Cool. So we're going to wrap this up. So take a second and write in the comments to the viewers what concerts you saw this year. You can make fun of me because I went to see Papa Roach, caught COVID, but
so bad.
If there's a way to
learn a lesson. Wait, so one thing we learned today is don't go to see Papa Roach or you'll catch COVID.
But at least I got COVID and I got over it. Then I was able to go through. So it was part of a ritual, I guess. I wouldn't have won if I didn't get in free. I didn't pay to get in. Anyhow, so we'll see you guys next week and rock and roll.
Cool.